Alaska's word of the day, Dashlika'a, bald eagle. Well, welcome, oil runners. We have a special today. We actually have a mom and a daughter today coming on, and they're talking about their book, and it's called Aliens, Ninjas, and Poop. So it is a potty book, and we're going to hear their story. And we would love for more children and their moms and their dads, all the families, to come on, because it is a family friendly show, and we want to know your stories and how you get through, and we just come on and go through. So we're just gonna find out why the book, how it happened, and what's going on with that, and what is more. You can find the book on Amazon as well, so go ahead and go on Amazon and purchase that as well. So we're going to add Zhanetta and her daughter onto the stage right now. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, no, it's my pleasure. You want to state your name, sweetheart?
No.
Yes.
No.
What's your name?
You said it.
Lana.
Welcome. So how did you become an author, and what was your story?
So definitely never aspired to be an author, but at around when Alana was about 2, she started to have a lot of potty training issues, which was really interesting because I have 2 older kids and never had an issue. And she started to have like a really big anxiety with pooping. She was very, very scared of pooping. And it became really like all encompassing, where we couldn't even leave the house because she was withholding so badly. And then it became just terrible with the suppository medicine. And we were at loss because it could have been like 4 or 5 days where she would refuse to go, and she would become so sluggish and so weak, and she wouldn't eat. And we had no clue what was going on, because it's just such a natural thing. It's like breathing. You go to the bathroom.
Right.
So we started doing a lot of research, and we noticed there's a lot of kids that had this issue, but there really wasn't any guidance as to what to have done, or like a step-by-step. And when we went to our gastroenterologist, he sort of said, well, give her this medicine for a year. It's going to make her go, and then just talk to her and encourage her. And it wasn't working as planned, because the medicine was making her go, but it was so trauma inducing for her. And the talking wasn't working either. So we decided to kind of do a trial and error and take it really slow. I actually spent 2 months at home with her. I was able to have that luxury. And a process that was supposed to take a year ended up taking 8 weeks. Yes?
Nice.
And we decided to just kind of talk about our process step by step, and give families a child-friendly story that's also full of humor and a lot of step-by-steps, because it wasn't anything like that on the market. And the more we talk to people about it, they're like, oh, my eldest went through this, or my niece, or my granddaughter. And we're just really excited because she's not scared anymore. Are you still scared?
No.
No, you're not scared anymore. Do you want to show the book?
Oh, that's awesome. And we're going to have your autograph, Alana. You know that, right?
You can sign it.
You sign your name on there? I'm going to order a book.
Yes?
Yeah.
So that's Alana.
Yeah.
And it's super parent friendly, and has a lot of like great illustrations. And I think our favorite part was the tips and strategies in the back.
Okay.
It really goes through an option of things that you can do, things that work for us, things that didn't work for us, but we know work for other people. And then we also put in some start charts that you can use, that we spend so much ink printing out when we were going through our journey. We really hope that it helps people.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it would, because I remember having a child that I babysat in the daycare, and he kind of went through that, and it was a painful process.
Right.
Like, his mom actually, it was at her house anyway, so we had the daycare at her house, so it was a blessing for her. But she'd go to work. We figured that out. It took about 3 years for him to go poop, and it was stressful because it's not something that you can hold in at all.
And I think the biggest fear for me was when you're doom scrolling and you're reading all these nightmare stories, you see the worst case scenario. Because
Yep.
usually people that get over it are on living their lives. It's the people that are struggling that are still writing online. And I was reading things like, oh, my child has a condition now called encopresis, where they've like literally lost all feeling in their colon and are now leaking bowels and stools all day because of all the withholding. And that
Wow.
was my biggest fear. And I've
Yeah.
started to notice that with her, that after a few days, I'd find stains in her underwear and her pants, and she didn't even notice it was happening. So we just wanted to not have that 3-year period and to nip it in the bud. It still was from beginning to end 2 years, but for the first year, she would just go in her diaper. So she would request a diaper, and we would give it to her. It was just every time we tried to take the diaper away, it was just a battle. But thank God now how old are you?
5.
She's 5. She just turned 5. And we're doing great. We used to walk around with a potty seat everywhere we go, but we don't do that anymore.
Hey, awesome job, Alana.
And I still get nervous, right? Like if she hasn't gone for a couple of days, I start like reliving my trauma. Like, is this happening again? But I know she's over it. And I want to just give just some hope to families out there, because I just remember crying myself to sleep because I just had to watch my child basically in labor. That it can get better, and there's so many different like methods. Like what was something that mommy did for you to go poop? What did I do?
Put presents up the wall.
Yeah, I used to tape like presents on the wall in the bathroom. And every time she went, she got to climb up and pull a present from the wall.
Oh, so it was that was a good thing for you. What else did you like when mommy did that? What else did you help?
What else do we do in the bathroom?
Color.
We color.
What'd you do? Color on the wall?
No, color pictures.
Colored pictures in a book on the toilet, on the potty?
Yeah, and we still do that. We have like a little bookshelf with her coloring book and her markers, and she knows that's just for the bathroom.
Okay.
And she loves it. The bathroom is the happiest place in our home now. Like we at some point decorated it. We put star charts up. I put a picture of her gastroenterologist there. I don't know why. She just really liked him.
That's different.
Remember Dr. Tuvia?
Oh, so how did that work out with your husband and the rest of the family?
So they were definitely involved. I think that it stressed me out a lot more than it did everybody else. But because I was constantly with her, I couldn't leave the house. So they knew that they all had to be on board to get this fixed. So I know like her sister would like, what would Emma do?
Make a star chart for me.
Like her sister would sit and design star charts for her. And what about your brother? What did he do?
Made me fight a lot.
Make you fight a lot. So they did like a lot of exercises and got her body moving. And there were times where I would get very emotional. So I would have to step back, be like, I can't hold her down, giving her medicine again, because it really was us holding her down every day, giving her medicine. And my husband was really supportive with that. So it was definitely a team effort. It was also team success.
Yeah.
So, and we detail all that in the book, that it is a family effort, because, you know, I wanted her to learn that this was a natural part of life and this wasn't anything to be scared of. And we had to celebrate everybody's bowel movements.
Yeah. Did you make up any other songs? Any songs, Alana?
We did make up songs. Do you remember? So I actually used to let her eat candy on the toilet.
Look, whatever works, man.
Whatever works. So I remember thinking, like, I like to poop while eating candy. Remember that?
Yeah.
And again, that works for some people. It didn't work so much for me because then I realized that she would just run to the bathroom so she can get the candy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But there was so many things we did. And then, we didn't put her on the potty right away. It was just her standing in the bathroom in her diaper. And then we ended up cutting holes in the back of the diaper and she would, wear that for a while. So I remember the day came and she said to me, "Mommy, I don't need this anymore. I can go on my own." And just taking a deep breath and going, "Is this really over?" Like, thank God.
Uh-huh. So was it something, Alana, what made you scared of pooping?
What made you scared?
No?
No, what made you scared? One time what? You were scared that it was gonna what?
Make a really loud flush sound.
Really loud flush sound.
Okay.
Scared of that because she would pee in the potty and not in the toilet. And I think I remember when it first started was she had a stomach bug. And like, I don't know what made me think this. I tried to potty train her during the stomach bug and she was in pain. So the first memory she had of going on the toilet was during a stomach bug. And she would always scream that it would hurt.
And that's probably what it was that
That's what
PTSD on that end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would make sense on that end. Yeah.
Right. And I think even now, like a couple of days ago, like she started screaming, "Mommy, it's hard." And I would talk to her and be like, "It's okay. It's fine. You have some water." And we know, like, what do we need to do so that it doesn't hurt? Water. And what else? She can't hear you.
Eat fruit.
Eat fruit.
Eat fruit. Right. Lots of fiber.
Lots of fiber, right?
Lots of fiber. Yep. Yep. Coffee usually works for me, but you're too young for that one.
We've tried little like bits in a syringe, but like I think the issue for her, and everyone's like, "Oh, she's just constipated." I'm like, she's really not. It wasn't that she couldn't go. It was just that she refused.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this girl has like butt cheeks of steel.
Are there any, like, how that mommy and me support groups and all that stuff? Are there any support groups that are, or is that like something that's like a 1%?
No. So I know that I think 20% of all kids at some point will have some sort of poop anxiety. Obviously, some kids get over it quicker than others. There are support groups, particularly it's called for encopresis. Those are already those situations where the kids are withholding so much where they need to go to the hospital for like clean outs.
Okay.
Or like kids that have already kind of lost that choline feeling and that are leaking. So they have support groups for that. What I don't really see much is support groups for those kids that are just starting out with that anxiety. I don't see much of that. I see kids like 8, 9, 10, 11 years old who are still struggling with this issue.
Right.
But I think that the important thing to remember, and not that this ever made me feel so much better, but it is some consolation that this is super common. And with the right steps and some time, your child can get over it. But I don't believe that they'll grow out of it mentality is the correct mentality. Because anxiety is real and phobias are real. And unless you can rewire the brain to not see this as a threat, like I think she had to have about 300 bowel movements, which was like almost a year before she was like, okay, maybe I don't need you to sit with me. Maybe I can do this on my own. Before her brain didn't perceive it as a threat, because it was, I guess, a very painful experience for her. And it's something that we as adults don't understand. And we just have to be mindful of that, not to just say she'll grow out of it.
Yeah, that's one of those things I hate when people say that, like especially like in depression. Oh, just get over it. Just get up. Like you can't. You gotta let it go through. So yeah. What like you were talking about anxiety. All anxiety are different, but it's kind of like almost the same thing. With that particular thing, would you say that you can utilize the anxiety methods, like how to cope skills, the coping skills for anxiety, doing that, like finding what is it, then going through the steps on that? Or is there a special way to deal with that?
So we did, because I was so desperate for an answer. We went to like a psychologist, and I was like, what's going on with my daughter? And the psychologist had said to us, well, this is her way of exhibiting control, because maybe there's too much control in the house. It's true. I am a very like kind of like by the book mom. I like things a certain way. I expect you to come home, do your homework, do your
Mommy.
chores. You good, baby? You can go if you want. And so he basically told me, let go of control, let her do what she pleases. For me, that didn't last long because it was like underwear on the head, running around the house. You know,
Oh, man.
I tried it. I think for some kids, it might be a control issue. But I think in her case, it was just that one moment where left that stain of, oh my God, this is going to hurt forever. And it was just about rewiring. I think it's more like a phobia, where that's how I would approach it. Whatever you're scared of, you really have to like think, is this irrational fear? How can I get over it? Maybe expose myself. And that's what we did. Just exposure, exposure, exposure until she was fine. And that could take a long time.
Okay. Now this might be a weird question, like when you were saying, like animals using the bathroom outside and everything. Did you like try that method to kind of like, oh, it's okay, like they went out here, like when you guys go for a walk or something, like
No, that was
yeah.
Especially since she was on medication, so I didn't know when it was going to kick in. Do you want to go? No, okay. So I used to walk around with her potty seat, like in a bag. And this was before I discovered that they actually have a foldable one that like folds up to this big. And I can show it to you.
My kid's 20. Where was that?
Yeah. And I was like, I'm carrying around this giant round potty seat with ducks on it. Like classy restaurants. And meanwhile, there's one that could fit in your clutch.
Nice.
Do you want to get your potty seat? It's hanging right there by the keys. Can you go get it? I haven't used it in a while at this point. When we would go out, I would take it. I would carry the coloring book. I would carry the crayons. I would try to make any bathroom as comfortable as possible. I don't do that so much anymore because I think she's... Get a chair. I think she's at a state where she won't go unless she's home or like in grandma's house. And like in a lot of adults are like, I'm not going in public.
So how did that work with school?
I guess she waits or she doesn't have to even until she gets home.
That's a long time.
Yeah, like she won't have a bowel movement until she's home. But usually I try to make sure like I'll give her yogurt and a glass of water so she'll go early in the morning. Honestly, we're on day 3 that she hasn't had one. And normally I would be panicking, but she's tried a couple of times. I just think she doesn't have to go and she'll go when she has to go because it's not an anxiety issue. At this point, if it's constipation, right. I'm not worried because I can handle constipation. I can't handle withholding. You want to show it? Wait, fold it up. So this is the foldable one.
Oh, it's even pink. Oh, I like that.
It's like super, yeah, it fits into a clutch and then you can open it and it fits onto like anything.
So I love that.
This is one of the tips though in my book where you can get a foldable potty seat. Like, we're going on vacation in August and we're going to be in a hotel. And that's like going to be the first time she's going to be away from home in a prolonged period. We're taking our foldable potty seat. We're going to take our coloring books. And I will take them. I mean, I haven't given her laxatives in almost over a year. I'll take them. You never know if she's going to need them. But I know the anxiety is not there.
Yeah, little backpack and let's keep it moving. Like that's
it.
Yeah. Do you like your little potty, the foldable potty?
Do we still use it? No, we don't even use it. It's sort of just hanging the exit.
Now, we were talking about family being a family event type thing or a family affair. Now, for a single parent, not just a mother, but maybe a single father or a grandmother, and having to go through this situation, out of your experience, how would you advise or alter that, to help the child and going through like this, having to deal with the job and then figuring out you're coming back home 24/7 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How would you advise a single parent or a
I
single?
think what's really important is finding the support group that you have. So, for example, if your child is in daycare and you're at work, you need to speak to the daycare provider about having like those potty sits after meals. And that can be your support where they're like, okay, I know you use a timer at home. We're going to use a similar timer at daycare. Or, talking about making sure that your child is eating healthier foods in daycare, packing their snacks, asking them maybe to even like fill out a chart. Did they eat their food? Did they drink a certain amount of water? And yes, honey, you can. And just having that support group at the daycare is one thing. Extended family, neighbors, like, we have a very tight social group. I had her sitting on the potty with her friend who's also exactly the same age.
Right.
So doing that, and it is exhausting, and you have to give yourself some grace that you are gonna have some setbacks. Because to me it was like a full-time job, but that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, so that you don't have to go out and do all the research on what works. It's all in here, things that have worked for me, for other people, and I think that having that resource really, really helps in terms of just knowing where to start.
Okay. Yeah. That's because that would be a lot for one person to just deal with that. And if they're on welfare or whatever, it's that you can't take off of work, but it's your child, you got to do it, and figure all that out and be stressed out, and maybe take a therapy.
And another thing is, like, in the book you'll see there's a lot about scheduling. So if you work late, you can schedule those potty times, you can schedule certain foods that the child is going to eat after work so that you can sit with them and you can train your body. Like, there was a point where she would go every single day, even without medication, like clockwork, at 7:15 in the morning.
Oh, that must be nice.
Yeah. So you were able to train your body. Then we kind of loosened up, like, because the psychologist told me to.
Right.
And now she just goes like when she has to. But I know that you can definitely help your child train their body. So if you come home at 5, you can train your child's body to have to go at 6 every day.
Okay. Yeah. And how talking to your child, helping them understand in a way that they can, what was the best way to do that?
So I found that didn't work. I was always like, if you go, then I'll give you this. Because the truth is, it's not that she didn't want to. It's just she was like paralyzed with fear. I think just educating your child about what, where the food goes, why it needs to come out. Like we spoke about how, like, you need water just like you take a shower for your body. It's a shower for your tummy. And just making like light of it. Like, we were in the bathroom and I'd be like, oh, you passed gas. It's so funny. Letting your child look in the toilet and just really educating them about what's happening in their body and how much better they feel when they let it go. Like, don't you feel so much better? Don't you feel so much lighter? Now we have so much energy because it's yucky in our bodies. And bringing it down to their level of that's garbage and we need to throw the garbage out, because if we leave the house full of garbage, you wouldn't want to live like that. You don't want your body to be full of garbage, right?
Right. Yeah, I stuck with my son apple juice pee pee and chocolate poo poo or whatever, like the toilet needed to eat. I was hungry and thirsty, so you need to give it some food and water. Make sure it keeps it,
Right.
keep it going. That was the one thing that did work.
Yeah, whatever. And there was a time where like the only thing that would like get her to go would be like a cup full of yogurt and a cup full of water. And that was our breakfast every single day. Like, I'm not asking you, this is not a negotiation. But I think that I've loosened up because I know that it's okay now. I can give her that freedom to choose her own healthy foods. Yes?
Uh-huh.
So in a way, it worked on you as well, because you had to give up that control and work on
Absolutely.
yourself. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Like Alana, do you teach other kids?
Do you sometimes talk to kids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like doing that?
Yes.
Yeah. How does that happen? How does that work?
Did
We
you?
just talk and say what we did when we was little.
Yeah. What kind of things do you say to them?
Put prizes on the wall, and then you'll feel all better.
You're gonna feel
Yeah.
better.
I
You
bet
still,
I
you
bet all
still
the kids love it.
you still get prizes for pooping, or is the poop your prize?
The poop is my prize.
The poop is the relief is the prize.
Nice. Shoot. I know that's right. Like that's yeah, I bet all the kids love you, huh? And then with
Yes.
all the stuff that you give them, did you
Yeah.
help?
I think that I've shied away actually from talking about it with her. Like when the book came out, she goes, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, do I want to remind her?" Um, but she's totally cool with talking about it, and I think that that's actually helped me and her heal
Mhm.
from just like that terrible moment that we had, where we could talk about it and we know that we're helping other kids.
Nice. Oh, I think y'all should just go out on tour, man. Into different areas and talk about the book, huh? Maybe in different preschools and
Right. So
and
we
what
were
else?
thinking, 'cause I teach special ed, and I've seen so many, especially kids with autism, who are
Oh, yeah.
struggling and can't even like tell you. They can't even verbalize it. So that's another reason I wanted to make like a social story where kids could relate.
Yeah. I had one of my favorite girls in daycare. Nobody else could get her to use the bathroom, but I think she ended up being like 4 years old after a while, right before I left to Alaska. Um, she had autism, and what worked for her, getting her diaper changed and everything, was she was able to suck her thumb and peel all this stuff off the wall. So I was like, well, as well, I have to take the stuff off the wall anyway. Go
Right.
for it. While I'm changing your diaper, and then she was more comfortable, but it ended up I was the only one allowed to give her the diaper change because it was, letting nobody else was like, oh, here, you can't traumatize the kid.
That's what it was. And it was at one point trauma where you don't know how to help your own child. So you're holding them down and you're giving them these enemas and these suppositories. And now you've taken 3 steps back.
Yep. And then you're getting frustrated. So that frustrates the kid. And then, like it is a mess. Like that's,
But I am going to say, like, what I've learned is don't push your kid to potty train. Both my older 2 were potty trained a little bit after 2 years old. So I was like this one also. Like every child is an individual. And if you need to wait till they're 3, 3.5, but avoid that trauma, just do it. It's not worth it.
right. Yeah. And and just be free,
Yeah.
honestly.
Absolutely.
Like might as well just go ahead and get the clown suit or something just to, have your house full of costumes or whatever, because you got to really do what you got to do, because that's a whole entity in itself. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I cannot wait to get the book. I have some people I want to get the book for, because some babies were born and all that stuff, and to make sure that they have that, because I think that is a very important thing. That's one of those things that are very hard to get through. Yeah. You said you had in the book, did you have like the different foods and whatnots to make it easier too?
Well, it's not even so much food. It's just like a step-by-step guide of what you can do. And then there's different options of, how you can make the bathroom a happy place. Obviously, it talks about like eating a healthy, balanced diet, but I'm not a dietitian. But the idea is if you eat, eating healthy. Yes, honey.
Mommy,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Do you want to go play now? Because your part is over. No? Okay. Okay, you can wait. So the tips and strategies, they talk about how to speak to your child, things that you want to say, a lot of what you were asking, how to like train your child's body to go at a certain time, potty sits and when to do them, how to speak to daycare providers, how to explain the situation to family, because that was really rough where, I would go to a family member's house and like, why are you walking around with a toilet seat? So things like that.
So how would you tell the family?
I would just tell them exactly what it is. She's potty training. She's having some anxiety, and this helps her feel better. And that's it.
Would you ever, if I know that there's boundaries that have to be set, because you got some, I'm not saying your family members,
Right.
but like just a family member in general that might have like a narcissistic personality or something, you know what I mean? That just overstep boundaries.
You're overreacting. You're giving it too much attention. And I wouldn't try to educate those people because that education is not going to go anywhere and you're going to be past the state of your life and they're probably never going to need to deal with it, especially if they're older. I would just say, okay, thank you for your advice.
Mama, can you have a snack?
You can. But yeah, that things like that, and how to like navigate the society with an issue like this. Because I would take her to gymnastics and I would be like, oh, it's time for your potty sit. Because it really was an issue that I felt like nobody understood at that time.
Right. And I know kids can be bullies and stuff like you mentioned, and like going into social. Was she ever bullied by another kid or anything like that? Because she has to, obviously seeing the potty come out and you got to, all that extra.
I think that because she was 2 and 3, that was typical in her circle. But I think that for parents that are dealing with 8-year-olds, and I know parents that are dealing with 8-year-olds who are still in diapers every time they need to poop or can have accidents because they have caprices. Of course, there's teasing, especially when there's a smell associated, or they have to go to the nurse all the time or get picked up early. Absolutely. And just like any issue, I would bring it to the attention. But that's why I also think it's so important to deal with this issue early and not hold your breath and be like, she'll grow out of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So do you have any advice maybe to, I know you personally haven't done it with her because she was obviously young, but like those 8-year-olds, like you got maybe those parents that are like of the bullies that are just crazy. Like, how would you approach that situation?
Like anything else, those people you need to educate because you're going to have to deal with them for a while until you get through this. Talk to the schools, talk to the counselors, talk to the teachers, and explain that this is an issue that your child is dealing with. They are going to get over it. But in the meantime, by you bullying them, you're hindering that because you're creating more anxiety and stigma around it.
Mm-hmm.
Like my middle child, she occasionally suffers with a tic. And I would talk to the schools and be like, and talk to her friends and say, this is what happens to her when she gets anxious. If you care about your friend, or if, you want to do the right thing, it's important that you be understanding and you don't point it out and you don't make fun. There are going to be bullies no matter what, even if you say that. And it's just important also to empower your own child and say, you're going to get through this. And they will. I just don't know how many, if there's enough resources out there right now. But I do believe they are going to get through it. I don't know any adults with this issue. And I've always kind of calmed myself. I'll be like, I don't know any 25-year-olds who are scared to poop. So I know there are people with like anxiety with public bathrooms, but you know what I mean? So I always calm myself with that. So just reminding of you're going to get through it. The question is when. It's going to pass. It might pass like a kidney stone, but it's going to pass if you are proactively treating it.
Right. Yeah. I can't think of that medicine's name. The old school medicine. It's a kind of a laxative.
Senna?
Huh?
Is it Senna?
Not Senna.
Neurolax?
Old school, like everybody took it like
oil.
Castor oil, yeah. Have you ever tried that one?
Well, that's really painful. So they use it to induce labor.
I didn't know that.
So I would actually give her Senna chocolates. They would give her double the adult amount, and even that she would fight through. But eventually, she figured out what it was doing to her. So to this day, actually, she won't eat chocolate.
Yeah, there's another PTSD on that one.
You like chocolate? No. Like eventually, she's like, every time I take this, 4 hours later, I'm in pain.
Yeah, well, at least you're pooping. Like, come on.
Right, but I noticed that just doing the medicine wasn't working because it was a Band-Aid. It wasn't working on her psyche. I needed a combination of both. And I was told not to take her off the medicine for a year. And I go, you're crazy. This is habit forming. And it was giving her like mucus in the stool. And it was just terrible. So my goal was to slowly wean her off. And we did. Within 8 weeks, she was weaned off completely. The funny thing is the reason we had to wean her off is because she got another stomach bug. So we couldn't give her laxatives on top of her stomach bug. Right. And then after that, we never had to give it to her again. So it started with a stomach bug and ended with a stomach bug.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it came full circle.
Yeah. What you eating there? Chips?
What kind of chips are those?
Veggie chips.
Veggie chips.
Veggie chips. Actually, those are actually pretty good. Shockingly.
Yeah. I mean, I still let her eat junk food here and there, but I know that she knows when she's not feeling good or when she gets constipated, she'll gravitate towards the healthy food herself.
Yeah. Good old apples will do the trick too.
Yes. We have some apples today. You didn't go yet? I think we already gave you cucumbers, right?
Boom.
Chew.
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I really hope we get a lot of other mothers that are okay to talk about this stuff because it is a stressful situation that probably goes into I'm by myself and
right,
like and to create more support groups like those mommies and me's and having to be able to go out and actually be part of society that'll help the psyche as well on the parents.
I'm going to tell you, when I went to the gastro, he told me, don't worry, I see this at least 5 to 10 times a day. He's like, this is about 30% of my patients. Mom's coming in panicking that her kid is withholding.
Wow. But I mean, are they actually withholding or like they
were withholding.
Wow.
He's like, it's not a physiological issue. She's capable of going. It was the withholding. And he's like, this is super common. Don't worry. And I'm like, well, if it's super common, then why isn't there more out there?
Yeah.
Other than here's some laxatives and pray that they grow out of it. I think that's it.
Huh.
Forgot to clip it.
Like, I'll take the bag. I'll take that over here. Yeah, it's kind of weird that it isn't out there like that.
I mean, they have some books that are really good. It's kind of like the kid had the problem and then didn't. And the in between is not there. Like, I got over it.
Right.
And there's a really good book. It's called I Can't, I Won't, No Way.
Mm-hmm.
And she loved it. We named the character Charlie. It was really great. But it was just, I was scared. And then one day I wasn't scared. And that didn't work for us.
It's like, okay, so right.
Right. I'm like, just try. Look, he did it. Just do it.
Right. That's like the equivalency. And I say this with total respect. Like when people say, I'll pray for you. Okay. Or, just go read scripture. Like, okay, but I want to know how you got out of it. Like,
right.
Like it's lovely to have scripture. Wonderful. But how?
Right. And I think also it's like saying, like, I don't know how to swim, and then saying, well, I didn't know, and then I knew.
Yeah.
What happened in between that?
Yeah, like you missed about 100 steps after that. And like share that gift, please.
And that's why I decided we have to write down the step by step. And there are some steps you could skip, and there's some steps you might need to spend more time on. But for me, once I started the step by step, the anxiety was less, and I noticed she wasn't so stressed out anymore, and I knew where we were going. There was a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And I mean, she'll probably use these steps to help her children out, even if they
I hope
didn't.
she doesn't have this issue, but if she
But she's like, look, I remember toys, presents. Here you go.
right.
You know, and yeah, I hope she doesn't have. Her kids don't have that issue either. But at least she'll be prepared for it.
100%.
Because I personally, when I had kids, I wasn't prepared for that. Like, I did not know about that kind of stuff until I went to the daycare. And even then, it was just like something I've only heard about with that one child. It wasn't something that the doctor had told me, oh, this could happen. Or, in that whole pamphlet of being pregnant and like,
Right.
you get those, this could happen, this shouldn't happen, blah, blah, blah. Like,
I only knew about it from like a college psych class where they spoke about Freud and like how some kids hold it in because apparently he thought it like felt good or something, so I remember thinking that I was like, is this what they were talking about in that college psych class? It definitely doesn't feel good. So I hope Freud is rolling over in his grave because that's not what it is.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That, no, like, just even the constipation itself, I'm like,
Right.
no, I couldn't imagine having to hold it and still have it. Actually, no, the recent, what surgery was that? I believe it was this past surgery where how they say you have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, it was this past surgery in December, and it was 7 days, and that was painful. There was like nothing, and I wasn't holding it. It wasn't coming out. So I'm like, okay, that's crazy, and then getting sick during that time,
Right.
and puking instead of doing the other. I was like, what the, and
it's exactly what happens because something has to come out. There's not enough room.
Yeah. And I can imagine, because it would hurt just even that little bit. So I can imagine kind of a little bit with what she was going through about holding it in because it does hurt, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want it to like rupture everything, like, having half of me gone.
But
now.
I think that comes to the idea of like really being grateful for the little things, just the idea that you can use the bathroom.
Yep.
I'm like, thank God, because the little things, like a couple of days of constipation and you will be begging and praying for a bowel movement.
Yup. Shoot, yeah. I can see that anxiety coming through because that is not a fun trip to be on. Yeah, I couldn't imagine, and I feel horrible for the people who actually have that.
I'll tell you, as an Orthodox Jew, people find it interesting that every time we actually go to the bathroom, we have to say a small prayer, just like in gratitude that we're able to relieve ourselves. And I kind of like always thought that was a little bit funny. Like, I'm praying after I poo, but try not. Don't start praying.
I'd have the prayer before the gratefulness and like, listen, like, thank you for helping me.
Right.
Be grateful afterwards or whatever, that would be my prayer. Like, nah, like, just, yeah, no. I mean, I don't know if it's a dumb question, but did any of this like go outside of your religious beliefs or anything like that, like what you had to do and whatnots? And
if it went outside, I think it solidified my religious beliefs, because I think that a lot of the things that I thought were silly, like, well, we're praying that we went to the bathroom, or we have to pray every time we eat a certain type of food. I did think it was a little bit overkill. Like, seriously, like, I'm going to pray every time I do everything. But then when those little things are taken away from you, when my daughter couldn't eat because she wasn't going, it did solidify it for me. And it definitely made my faith a lot stronger. I have become significantly more religious after, only because my daughter was healed. And I think that it could have gotten so much worse. And I don't think necessarily God healed her miraculously. I don't believe that God does those kind of miracles, but I do believe that he gives us tools for us to help ourselves. We still have to go through the sea. He'll part it for us, but we still have to get through it. And I do believe that the sea was parted for us, and that we got through it. It was a hurdle. So in that sense, I've been very grateful to my faith. And I don't think that I would have gotten through it without losing my mind if I didn't have my faith.
I could see that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that part in the red. Yeah, we definitely, but he gave you a book out of it too. So,
Like, I remember screaming, like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to my child? But there's a reason why, because something good came out of it. And also because I have I'm such a controlling person, it taught me to be like, I'm not in control. And I need to just kind of be comfortable with being uncomfortable and chalk it up to someone else at this point, because I've done everything I could.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Something he had told me a long time ago. He said, you're not going through for you. You're going through to help somebody else out.
100%.
You know, and that changed my personal outlook on anything that I went through. So I can definitely see where that whole going through the Red Sea, you know,
Yeah.
that journey, it's yeah, because you were able to help somebody else out, or millions of people, once you know they get a hold of the wind of it, is out there. So whoever's got the book, they, you know, it's a good start, and whatever it is, you know, and there's just more for you out there, and for her and your family. It's just the beginning. Like,
This was my silver lining. I wouldn't go through it again, but this was my silver lining.
right. But you can honestly go in so many different directions on this. You know, and even I mean, I personally haven't read the book yet, which I can't wait to read it, but from what you guys are saying, I can see that there's like another one to go off of, you know, extra stuff, you know, and different things. If you, whatever you wrote in there, like in the back, and how things went, you could go to another way of doing it, and just adding more to the arsenal for people to have guidelines or guides to go through, and getting together with doctors to kind of put things together and write something together, or, you know, do some talks with them, you know.
And I think that's where we're headed, where if you go to a gastro, I don't want him to just give you a prescription for laxatives. I want him to give you a tool.
Yeah. So what are kind of the questions, like self so like a mom or a dad or the family's coming in for the first time, right? And we all know some doctors will just, like you said, give just the laxative and just kind of mosey on over, and then you're just like, you know, what kind of questions and what kind of things can you give advice to those people to be like looking out for and talk to the doctor about, and kind of get through grass or get through
I think
stuff?
it's important to remember who you're going to. You're going to a gastro. They specialize with the gastro, not with the mind.
Right.
So they're not going to be able to, like when I spoke to my gastro, I was like, but how do I get her to sit on the potty? Okay, she's going every day in the diaper in the bathroom. What's next? And he couldn't help me because that's not his expertise. He could tell me how to get the poop out. He can't tell me how to fix the mind.
Okay.
I think that for me, I was getting frustrated with him. And then I realized it's like, you know, I teach third grade. You're going to go ask me to do high school biology. I can't help you, even though I'm a teacher. That's not my expertise. So for that, I think that you need to really focus on the phobia again, and try to figure out how to help your child with that phobia, because no matter how much medicine you give them, if they don't rewire their mind, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna have long-term effect. So you can go to a child psychiatrist. I think counseling for older kids is really good.
Okay.
Especially to get over that stigma.
Mm-hmm.
So counseling, getting, again, if you have family, friends, supports, is, you know, getting the daycare involved. But again, if you're not dealing with the mind and the body, I don't think it's going to work, because again, this isn't kids who are constipated. The gastro can deal with the constipation. These are kids who are scared.
Right. Okay. So kind of pretty much like go to the doctor, the gastro first, figure out the problem, and then work in the counseling portion of it, and then
The gastro is important to get your child cleaned out, right? Get their body in a point where they can now function. Because if you haven't gone, like Lana hasn't gone for like 3, 4, 5, 6 days, there's nothing I can help her with. She's cranky, she's sick, she's getting a rash at this point, so making sure that her body is cleaned out. And then after that, you have to realize that you can't just keep cleaning her out every few days. There has to be more than that.
Right.
You have to start working with the mind.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. And then did you guys do family counseling as well?
We did counseling. We didn't. I think I definitely, now thinking back, I definitely need some counseling now. And some therapy now. But I actually think it brought us a lot closer as a family, because this was our little project. We're gonna help our girl. We all had a role. My son was exercising with her. My daughter was sitting in the bathroom with her. My husband was administering the medication. I was making sure to make all the adjustments. So in a way, it brought us closer. So I guess another silver lining is that it kind of was our family counseling.
Right. With the other kids, with them being young and having a life outside of pooping, even though that they probably showed the happiness, did it ever take a toll on them as well?
Yeah, it did. Like, they were scared to tell me if she didn't go. They would kind of like tiptoe around and be like, I'd come from work and be like, so is there any news? Did anything happen today? And they were scared to tell me because they knew how anxious it would make me.
Mm-hmm.
But that was hard. So that's like a tip for people. Try not to show your anxiety. And I personally have the hardest time with this. Like, I wear my feelings on my forehead. You can tell what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard for them to see me so upset and so worried all the time. They tried to be supportive as best as they can, but they just didn't want to see me upset.
Were they able to go and play with their friends as well to release?
They were. I mean, my son was 10 and my daughter was 7 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, we are in a really tight-knit community. But there would be days where, if they were in the bathroom and my little one had to go, they're getting kicked out because we got one bathroom.
Oh, no.
And it's happened. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Like, let's go.
We need to fix this first. And then, yeah. Like,
so, that was rough. Like, or they're like, what do you mean? I'm in here. I'd be like, this is not going to work for me.
Did you guys ever upgrade to a second bathroom or anything?
We're working on it. Definitely working on it. There were days where I'd have to take the potty and put it in my kid's room and have my 7-year-old go on that while my other one was on the toilet because that's where she needed to be. And they knew that she had priority, and she still has priority, but she's at a point where she's like, you don't have to kick them off. I can wait.
Okay. Well, at least she's honest. Like, well, we're not gonna.
Yeah. So there is progress. I'm still always scared that she'll sort of revert back to that, especially like in weeks where she's more constipated.
Yeah.
But that's my problem, not hers.
Yeah, maybe in a situation where it makes her scared or something, to where like, given to where she can't go, or like, I don't know, just something that would really.
I mean, she tries every day, and that kind of puts my mind at ease. Where if she's trying, then she's not scared.
Right. But keeping her at a good psyche.
Yeah.
And definitely. Her surroundings in a good psyche.
Right. That's where we're at now. But I'm just so grateful that she's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think she'll be all right, though.
Yeah. I think this will be her legacy to share with her family.
Yep. That's her testimony. Nothing for sure. And I think. You know what? I think she'll write a book or do something.
Probably. And you know what? This is inspired, like with my other kids. Any issues you have, I'm like, look, we've been through worse. We've beat the cheeks of steel. This will pass too.
Oh, yeah. And they can tell their friends, oh, we went through this. I got you.
Right.
I know how to do this one. Everything else, I'm not sure yet. But this one.
100%. And I've done like book readings in her daycare. she's super open about that. And I've had people say like, you know, my kid went through this too, and I wish that we had something like this so that we wouldn't just be waiting or hoping that she'll grow out of it. She could have gotten over it quicker.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not a bad idea. I might get some books to donate to daycares.
I
You
appreciate
know?
it.
Yeah. I'm gonna, after these surgeries, I'm gonna really figure out, because that is very important. And as I was a daycare teacher at one point, and those kind of books do the little ones, especially in my 1-year-old class, they love to sit down, and it's always, and it's different. Besides the A is for apple, B is for bear,
Right.
you know, and like, you
And
know,
it's something that a lot of kids can relate to. Like my daughter was like, "What do you mean other kids are scared too?"
yeah,
Thought that was important to be like, yes, you're not alone. There are other kids, and now you can help the other kids.
yeah, and coin a song,
Yeah.
make a song that's copyrighted that you guys have, and put it in. Yeah, that would really be pretty cool. Well, we could find it on Amazon. I did see it on Amazon, and it's in my cart. Just waiting for next week. So, um, but everybody, you guys can go find the book. Please buy the book, because it's very important, and we want you to do right by your kids and know that you're not alone in these situations. And I was always wondering, you know, when I first heard about your stuff, the aliens part, and I was like, wait, you know, it'll probably click. I was like, maybe it's alien to us, like we don't know what's going on. So I was like, that's weird. And like,
So I think it's just like I was always shocked that she had this anxiety, because this was my fearless baby. Like nothing scared her. Roller coasters, I mean monsters, and my son dresses up as an alien every year for the holiday of Purim. He's always trying to scare her, and she's not scared of anything. So the play on the book is that this little girl who's not scared of anything except poop.
wow. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering how that aliens part came in play. I was like, huh? All right. Maybe it was just a metaphor.
So you're gonna have to read it to find out, because there is some comedy in it.
Okay. Yeah. Because I was gonna wait until that, but the aliens threw me off. I got the ninjas, but the aliens, I was like, aliens. All right. Like, but yeah, is there anything you want the audience to know about your, you know, where anything you can get and anything?
Just to hang in there. I know my email's on the screen. If you guys ever want to just email me for advice, I'm happy to do it, just to support, just to chat, just to vent, you know, from parent to parent, just to feel heard. Because I remember I just wanted like that reassurance, just to feel heard, just listen to my story. That's all I wanted going through it. I'm so happy to do that for you. And just know that you're not alone, and you will get through it.
Absolutely. And I'm inviting all the people up to be able to come on and create a little support group and talk about different things as well. So, yeah, like any, you know, we can all talk and have a platform to come on as well. So email oilrunnerservices@gmail.com. You can tell your story. You can email your story. If you don't want to come on, we'll read your story. Just let me know, or we'll read it alone. It'll still be a support. We are all here. So we're all oil runners now. So we thank you for coming on, Zhanetta, and for your baby to come on and to tell your story. And definitely anything else, if you want to come back on, that's absolutely fine. Just let me know. We're all family now. So
yeah. Thank you, and good luck on your surgeries. Please let me know how they go.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And yeah, so now your babies are now my nieces and nephews and all that too. So like it's family. So yeah. So many hugs and love from Alaska. And we thank you for coming on. Absolutely.
Thank you. This was great. I really hope that we help a lot of people. Thank you.
Absolutely. And with that, stay on for like the minute, because it has to download and we're all good.
Awesome.